All right, so let's dive right into OpenAI's DevDay 2024.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to cut through the hype and really figure out what all this means. Like, how does this actually affect you listening right now?
Definitely.
We've gone through all your notes and links and everything, so get ready for this inside scoop.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff on, like, the tools and the updates that really, really matter.
It's like OpenAI just, like, threw this giant puzzle piece onto the table, and we're all trying to figure out where it goes.
Yeah, totally. And I think a good place to start would be their new real-time API.
Okay.
Remember how we talk about, like, wanting ChatGPT's voice capabilities, but in our own apps?
Yeah.
Like, they basically just handed us the keys.
It's exciting stuff, for sure.
It is.
Imagine using voice commands to, like, navigate a really complex data set, or even just having an AI assistant that can make phone calls, but it sounds like a real person.
I know, and that's not even, like, sci-fi fantasy land.
Right.
Like, at DevDay, there was this one developer, and they were demoing this API with this 3D model of the solar system.
Oh, wow.
I know, and you could literally be like, show me Saturn's rings, and boom, it zooms right in, highlights every little detail.
That's incredible.
Right.
And the thing is, this API, it's not some far-off thing.
Right.
It's in public beta right now.
That being said, there are some technical kinks.
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be kinks in the beginning.
Access is limited, and developers are still trying to figure out how to, like, secure their API keys.
Yeah, security first, always.
Always. And another thing is it doesn't handle image input just yet.
Ah, okay. Yeah. It's a work in progress, but it's moving quickly.
It is. And you know what? It kind of highlights that we're still in the early stages of this whole, like, AI explosion.
It really does.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that's what makes it so exciting. You know,
Totally.
While these big companies are figuring out all the logistics, this is our chance to, like, jump in, get ahead of the curve, and really just imagine what we could build with this.
I'm already getting, like, a million ideas.
Me too.
And it seems like they're stepping up their game in other areas, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember those prompt caching features that we loved in Claude and Gemini?
Oh, yeah.
They just rolled out their own version.
And this is a perfect example of where the competition in the AI space really benefits us, the users and the developers. Because this new feature, it basically lets developers store and reuse prompts that they use all the time.
Oh, that's smart.
Which saves a ton of money, especially for tasks that take a lot of computing power.
So you're saying instead of paying for the same complex calculation every single time, you can just sort of, like, cache the results and reuse them whenever you need.
Exactly.
That's huge.
It's all about making these really powerful models more practical and accessible for everyone.
And speaking of accessibility, can we talk about their new model distillation tools?
Yes, please.
This one sounds like it could be a game changer.
It really could be.
Okay, so imagine you have this amazing, really brilliant, but massive AI model. Distillation lets you take all of that knowledge from that huge model and, like, shrink it down into this smaller, more efficient version.
It's like teaching a student to replicate the skills of, like, a master craftsman.
Oh, I like that.
But, like, in a more focused way.
So you're basically taking something really complex and making it more manageable.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly useful for developers who maybe don't have the resources to be working with these massive AI models all the time.
Exactly. Let's say you want to have a really good smart reply feature in your email app.
Yeah.
With distillation, you could use a smaller distilled model without sacrificing the quality of the suggestions.
Okay, that makes sense. But I'm guessing there are some caveats, right?
Of course, there are always caveats.
Like, it's probably not as simple as just copying and pasting.
You're absolutely right. The effectiveness of this whole process really depends on the quality of the data and how complex the task is.
Right.
It's not a magic solution, but it's definitely another very useful tool.
Right. Another tool in the AI toolbox.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about APIs. We've talked about distilling AI knowledge.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about O1.
Okay.
This is the one that has everybody buzzing.
Rightfully so.
OpenAI is calling it their reasoning model. And from what I've read, it sounds like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it really is.
So what sets it apart?
What sets it apart is that it's not just about, like, predicting the next word in a sentence, you know.
Right.
It actually uses something called reinforcement learning to learn from its mistakes and become better at reasoning through complex problems.
So it's less about, like, sounding intelligent and more about actually being intelligent?
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
So what does that mean in practice?
Well, the early results are super impressive. It seems to be really good at things like complex math problems, writing code, and solving logic puzzles.
Really?
Yeah, it's even outperforming GPT-4o in certain areas.
Wow. Okay, so that's a pretty high bar.
It is.
But I have a feeling this level of sophistication probably comes with some trade-off.
You're right about that. The trade-off with O1 is that it requires more processing power and takes a bit longer to actually generate results.
Okay, so it's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Yeah, just like with any other tool.
You wouldn't use a hammer to saw a piece of wood.
Exactly. OpenAI themselves even recommend using O1 strategically for when you really need that next-level reasoning power.
So it's like having that specialized tool in your kit for those extra challenging tasks.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But let's move on because I want to talk about agents.
Okay, yeah. Agents are huge right now.
They are huge. And speaking of huge, did you catch what Sam Altman said at DevDay?
I think so. What'd he say?
He's predicting that AI agents are going to be like the next big thing in 2025.
It's a bold statement.
It is.
But considering everything that we've seen already,
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. So for those of us who haven't quite wrapped our heads around AI agents yet,
Yeah.
what are we even talking about here?
Okay, so think of an AI agent as like a super-powered personal assistant,
Okay.
but like way more advanced because it can't just understand your instructions.
Mm-hmm.
It can actually take actions and make decisions to get things done.
On its own.
Yeah, and without you having to constantly tell it what to do.
Okay, now I'm picturing something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's getting pretty close to that.
Yeah,
But in a good way, hopefully.
hopefully.
It's important to remember that these AI agents, they're being designed for specific tasks,
Okay.
Like think about automating really complex data analysis or streamlining customer service interactions or even personalizing educational experiences.
Because the possibilities really are kind of endless.
They really are.
It's a lot to process, I have to say.
I know, right? It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Totally. Like, on the one hand, we have these potentially revolutionary tools that could change, like, literally everything.
Right.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
there's that little voice in the back of my head saying, but what if something goes wrong?
It's a valid concern. And I think that's exactly why OpenAI keeps saying how important it is to build these AI agents responsibly.
So they're not just throwing this stuff out there without any safeguards.
No, not at all. They're actually working on developing guidelines and frameworks for building AI responsibly.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, it should.
So that includes, like, making sure things are transparent,
Right.
addressing any potential biases, and making sure that humans are still overseeing things.
It's all about finding the right balance.
Yeah, because it sounds like these AI systems are going to be able to learn and adapt and potentially make decisions that have, like, real-world consequences.
And that's a huge responsibility.
It really is. It's almost as if the ethical considerations are, like, evolving at the same time as the technology.
You just summed it up perfectly.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah. It is a little bit, but it's also exciting because it means that we're constantly having to think about these things and make sure that we're doing things the right way.
So as fascinating as all this new tech is, it's important to keep in mind those broader implications
100%.
and the responsibility that comes with it.
Right. It's not just about building cool things.
Right.
It's about building them the right way and making sure that they're actually going to benefit humanity in the long run.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So it's like they say, with great power
Comes great responsibility.
Exactly. And speaking of responsibility,
Okay.
OpenAI also made some interesting announcements about making their tools more, like, reliable and robust. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the big takeaways from DevDay was definitely their focus on moving from like just research and experimentation to building AI applications that are actually ready for the real world and that developers can rely on.
That makes sense. And I noticed they were talking a lot about something called structured outputs for their API.
Yes.
How does that play into the reliability thing?
That's a great question.
Mm.
So structured outputs are all about making it easier to work with the AI
Mhm.
and making the integration process more predictable.
Okay.
So basically, instead of getting back a big wall of text from the API,
Yeah.
developers can now request that data in a specific format that's already organized,
Oh, okay.
like JSON, which
Right.
is super convenient for building applications.
So it's like giving the AI very specific instructions for how to present the information
Exactly.
so that it's easy for developers to actually use it.
It's all about making the development process smoother
Yeah.
and reducing the chances of errors when you're working with all this AI-generated stuff,
That makes a lot of sense.
especially for really important applications where accuracy and consistency are super important.
Like life or death situations.
Yeah, or anything where you need to be able to trust the information that you're getting.
Right.
It's like the difference between getting a handwritten letter versus a typed email.
Yeah.
They both say the same thing, but one is way easier to read and understand.
For sure.
And that's what they're going for here.
And that increased readability and consistency is so important for building trust.
Especially as we rely on these AI systems more and more.
Right? Like, I'm more likely to trust a system when I actually understand how it works.
Exactly. And when you know that you can rely on it to give you accurate information every time.
Okay, so we've talked about reliability.
Yes.
But there was another key theme that emerged at DevDay.
Okay, what's that?
And that's accessibility.
Making AI accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about the big flashy announcements.
Right.
It felt like there was a real effort to make these tools available to more developers.
100%. It's not just for the big tech companies anymore.
And that's huge because for so long, it's kind of felt like AI was this exclusive club.
Yeah, you had to have tons of money and resources to even get in the game.
But now it feels like they're opening the doors and saying, come on in, everybody's welcome.
And that's only going to lead to more innovation and creativity.
Totally. Because when more people have access to these tools, who knows what they'll create?
The possibilities are endless.
They really are. It's like giving everyone a paintbrush and saying, go create something beautiful.
I love that analogy.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's also about building a community.
Exactly. OpenAI had all these workshops and Q&A sessions and even a developer forum where people could connect and share ideas.
That's so important because when you're trying to build something new and innovative, it really helps to have a supportive community.
100%.
So they're not just building tools.
Right.
They're building an ecosystem
where everyone can participate and contribute to the future of AI.
Which is a future that we're all going to be a part of.
Whether we like it or not.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into OpenAI's DevDay, what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from all of this?
You know, for years we've been hearing about how AI is going to change the world.
It's true.
But what DevDay really showed us is that the future of AI isn't some distant event.
It's happening right now.
It's happening right now. The tools are available. The possibilities are endless.
And the only limit is our imagination.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to everyone listening, if you've ever been curious about AI or if you've ever had an idea for an app or a project that seemed impossible,
now's the time to go for it.
Now is the time.
The future is waiting to be built.
And you could be the one to build it.
That's a great note to end on.
It is a great note to end on.
Right.
So on that note,
yeah,
we'll be right back after this quick break. It's amazing how they're really pushing for that balance, you know, between like cutting edge, crazy innovation, but also making sure that the tools are actually usable and relatable for regular people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they want to build trust along with the excitement.
Totally. And one thing that really struck me about DevDay was how much they talked about democratizing AI.
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't just about like, look at all this cool stuff we made.
Right.
It felt like they were making a real effort to make these tools available to a much wider range of developers.
Yeah, like they're finally realizing that AI can't just be this exclusive club for the tech giants.
Exactly. And, you know, those model distillation tools we were talking about, those are a game changer for smaller companies and independent developers who don't have like $1 billion to throw around.
I know, right? It levels the playing field, so everyone has a chance to experiment and build something cool.
It's like handing out paintbrushes and saying, go create.
I love that.
And who knows what people will come up with when they have access to these tools.
Yes, we could see a whole new wave of innovation coming from unexpected places.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
They're also building a really strong community around it.
100%. They had all these workshops and Q&A sessions and even a developer forum. Which
is so important because when you're trying to do something new and innovative, it helps to have other people to talk to and bounce ideas off of.
Totally. It's like they're creating this whole ecosystem where everyone is welcome to participate and shape the future of AI.
So it's not just OpenAI dictating what AI should look like.
Right. It's more like a collaborative effort now.
Which is how it should be.
I agree.
All right, so as we wrap up our deep dive into OpenAI's DevDay, what's the one big takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
You know, for years, we've been hearing about how AI is going to change the world.
Yeah.
But what this DevDay really drove home for me is that the future of AI isn't some far-off event.
It's happening now.
It's happening right now as we speak, And the tools are available.
And the possibilities are limitless.
Exactly. The only limit is our own imagination.
So to everyone listening, if you've ever been curious about AI,
now is the time to jump in.
Now is the time.
Wait.
The future is waiting to be built.
And would it be you who build it?
And that is a wrap on another episode of The Deep Dive.
That was fun.
Always a blast talking with you.
Likewise.
To everyone listening, thanks for joining us as we explored the exciting world of OpenAI's latest innovations.
Until next time.
We'll catch you in the next episode, where we'll dive into another fascinating topic that's shaping our world.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions. It's amazing how they're really pushing for that balance, you know?
I know, right?
Between, like, cutting-edge, crazy innovation.
Yeah.
But also making sure that the tools are actually usable and relatable for regular people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they want to build trust along with the excitement.
Totally. And one thing that really struck me about DevDay was how much they talked about democratizing AI.
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't just about, like, look at all this cool stuff we made.
Right.
It felt like they were making a real effort to make these tools available to a much wider range of developers.
Yeah, like they're finally realizing that AI can't just be this exclusive club for the tech giants.
Exactly. And you know, those model distillation tools we were talking about?
Yeah.
Those are a game changer for smaller companies and independent developers who don't have like $1 billion to throw around.
I know, right? It levels the playing field so everyone has a chance to experiment and build something cool.
It's like handing out paintbrushes and saying, go create.
I love that.
And who knows what people will come up with when they have access to these tools.
Exactly. We could see a whole new wave of innovation coming from unexpected places.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
They're also building a really strong community around it.
100%. They had all these workshops and Q&A sessions and even a developer forum.
Which is so important because when you're trying to do something new and innovative, it helps to have other people to talk to and bounce ideas off of.
Totally. It's like they're creating this whole ecosystem where everyone is welcome to participate and shape the future of AI.
So it's not just OpenAI dictating what AI should look like.
Right. It's more like a collaborative effort now.
Which is how it should be.
I agree.
All right, so as we wrap up our deep dive into OpenAI's DevDay, what's the one big takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
You know, for years, we've been hearing about how AI is going to change the world. But what this DevDay really drove home for me is that the future of AI isn't some far-off event.
It's happening now.
It's happening right now as we speak, and the tools are available.
And the possibilities are limitless.
Exactly. The only limit is our own imagination.
So to everyone listening, if you've ever been curious about AI, or if you've ever had an idea for an app or a project that seemed impossible,
now is the time to go for it.
Now is the time.
Don't wait.
The future is waiting to be built.
And it could be you who builds it.
And that is a wrap on another deep dive.
That was fun.
It was great chatting with you.
As always.
To everyone listening, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of AI and technology.